Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this unboxing first impressions walkthrough of the Reclaim Oracle by Marion. Oh my gosh, so I started to take all this stuff out of its package because that's how I typically like to do these, and I had to stop because there was just, it was lovely, and I wanted to bring you guys along for the entire experience. So we're going to dive into this. This just arrived to me. I don't know when this video is going to go up on the channel, but I definitely wanted to film it, get into it with you guys. So let's dive in. Now this is a deck that I backed on Kickstarter, and it is by Marion. And that is her card. She's Little Darkness Shop on Instagram, or no, excuse me, Little Dark and, wait, hold on. She's Little Darkness Nespress on Instagram, and on Etsy it's Little Darkness Shop. So when I saw this deck, I will tell you guys right off the bat, look at the little illustration on the back. This is not an illustration style that normally, I guess, grabs me. In fact, every time I've had a sort of sketchy illustration style deck, I've ended up rehoming it. But when I tell you that these images were so emotional and potent, I think you'll understand when I get into the cards. But I've only seen whatever was revealed during the Kickstarter campaign, so I'm really excited to get into it. I love this sort of like handwritten style thank you note. Thank you for making my dream come true. I love that. And this is what I mean. Look at these little, like, this is our sticker. Look at it. It's so sketchy and funky. This is the kind of sticker that I should be able to put on like an object. Wow, that made so much sense, Lisa. Like, I mean, it's like a vinyl sticker, so it's one of the more durable kind. We're going to set that over there. And then there's this little zine, How to Do Shadow Work and Heal Yourself. I'm going to set that aside. We're going to take a look at that after we've gotten into the cards. But first, cards. And there are these little like, oh, that's not one. But there's all these like little confettis in here. Look at this. Look at these little like, do you see? How cute? There's confetti. How fun is that? I don't know. This is such a fun little touch. I was just like, oh, I have to share. This is what it looks like. We are wrapped up in plastic. Now, I have put a little bit of a rip in the plastic so I can get into the cards right away. So let's dive in, just because I didn't want to fuss with a knife on camera. All right. This is a shorter than standard size deck. You can kind of tell by the shape of the box, but it is a chunk. Look at this. Oh, it says, what if you were always whole? Oh man. So this is very much, in my opinion, a self-worth and self-love themed deck. I have this beautiful backdrop here because I am totally going to be asking for a standard size Peggy bag to hold this deck, and this fabric just seems perfect. Like, look how well, like with the pink and the white and the black. Anyways, okay. And the stars, it's like the perfect match. I'm pretty excited. I get really excited about matching fabrics to decks. In case you didn't know this about me, now you know. Anyways, on the back it says, a unique oracle to heal your emotions and integrate your missing parts. Beautiful thumb cutouts, and this is a matte box. Let's see what we have. Okay, so in here it says, I took a deep breath and listened to the old brag of my heart. I am, Sylvia Plath. How beautiful is that? And we have our little guidebook. So there's no like, I guess, there's no words on the guidebook. We just have this like illustration, which you can kind of see. I don't want to crack the spine totally, but you can kind of see the shape of the illustration there. And this looks like it's all handwritten. That's really fun, like handwritten font. I'm going to set that over to the side, and let's get into the cards. When we have that funky moon on the bottom. I love it when the insides of boxes are decorated. Just me. Like, I just love that. Okay, so let's set those aside. Oh my God, they're etched in black. I feel like I didn't know that. I must have known that. Ooh, and this is a soft rose petally kind of finish. Let's take a look at these. Oh my goodness. So these are the backings. Look at that. So I guess these are pretty much reversible. I mean, you kind of can tell. I don't think I would shuffle reversals into an oracle deck like this, but anyways. Beautiful matte black edging to the cards, which is so awesome because the cards themselves are black with these, this is a duo-toned deck, I guess. Limited color palette. It's pretty much, I think, just black and then this like sort of peachy color, peachy pinky color. So Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked with how well it matches with the fabric. It almost blends too much for the video, but that's okay. We're going to roll with it. So we're going to go through card by card. Look at how many cards. I don't even know if it says on the box how many cards. Actually, let's zoom out just a little. Okay. So one thing I noticed with the few images that I saw is that the illustrations like perfectly illustrate the keyword. So the keywords are all handwritten. Here we have the keyword absence, and here we have this sort of hollow figure, but there's this figure off to the side, like distant, separated. Acceptance, and she's like wrapped up in her home. Like she has a place where she belongs. How beautiful is that? Anger. Yes. And this is what I noticed is like you can see the word in the illustration. And even though, like I said, this is not an illustration style I'm normally specifically drawn to, the fact that it is so emotive and that it so clearly illustrates what you're seeing is just, to me, it's everything. Sorry, let me get my hands out of the way. So here we have appreciation. All these arrows going from the universe to this figure, back to the universe, from the universe to her, then back up, then back and forth. Like there's this feeling of like the cyclical energetic nature of appreciation. Arrogance. And this person somehow feeling like they've got it figured out and this person is smaller or beneath them. This would be a really good, obviously with the zine we saw where it says how to do shadow work, we can definitely see how this could be an excellent shadow work deck. Attachment. What are you attached to? Here there's like a place, here there's like weather, here there's a person, here there's like a pet or an animal. Like where have you extended your energy to? Excuse me, betrayal, like ripping a hole in your heart. I think if you've experienced or felt these things, like these images just like you can't, they're so simply drawn and yet they're so potent. Blame, one finger pointing this way, one finger pointing that way, like nothing's being accomplished. Boredom, just drifting on a cloud. Change, look at this, it's a snake and it's like almost like a game board, like all these different moments, feeling like you're being twisted and turned. Another way to look at this is if you've been swallowed by the snake and you're moving through the entire process, right? Mind you, the arrows are going this way. And you can see that as the person's going through this experience, they're growing. They're literally physically from a small, little bigger, right? So they are growing and evolving as they move through that process. Oh, so cool. Closure, closing the door right there. This person's over here, but this person's closed the door internally, like on themselves. They've taken that agency or that power back. Really potent. Confusion. Oh, excuse me, confidence. Well, that makes more sense. I was like, where's confusion? Yeah, confidence, holding the staff of power. There's a real power pose here, like hips and heart thrusted forward, shoulders back. Confusion, feeling split or undecided. Connection, this cord that runs between these two figures. Contempt. Oh, this one is so intense for me. It's like, here's this person who is judging or berating or whatever, this person. And here she's literally cradling the hollow inside of her that contains her inner child. And while she looks like she's kind of managing okay, you can tell that the inner child or the smaller, more vulnerable part of her is crying. I want to point out that while I'm using like her pronouns, because of course I'm seeing me in this deck, I feel like a lot of these figures could be gender ambiguous, although I will say it does have a feminine slant to how the figures are illustrated. Control. Oof. Man. It like I said, it just really potently illustrates the concept. Courage. Look at this. So there's this ferocious, like, sort of animal here, right? And like the body language is back, but an arm is forward and a hand is forward saying, no, stop. Love that. Criticism. To me, this is like feeling like you're being compared to people maybe at different levels than you. Curiosity, sort of peeling back, opening a door in the universe to explore. Defeat, having just collapsed on these stairs. You can tell because of the cracks in the cement. And yet all these little figures, all these little helpers are around trying to help this figure. Denial, covering the eyes. I don't want to see. It's interesting when you see these like scars. I realize that some of these, as I'm going through, I'm kind of realizing some of these images could be, or even these keyword images combinations could be triggering for people. So please keep that in mind, and click away if this is making you uncomfortable or taking you past your comfort level. Desire, shooting stars, I love this. Despair, just that fizzle, right? So that feels like, it feels like a fizzle. Detachment, breaking off from everything else. This could be a family group and like feeling not connected to that family group or to that group of friends or whatever it might be. Sorry for clearing my throat, guys. Disappointment. It didn't bloom the way you wanted. It didn't turn out the way you wanted. Disconnection. Look at the separation here. Discouragement. That feels very similar to disappointment in a way. That's interesting. I feel like there are definitely two different shades of the same sort of experience, right? Doubt. Again, these like little creatures. This time they don't seem like helpers. They seem like they're holding her back. Interesting. Envy. Expression. Love this. I love the spiral coming out of the mind. All the different ways one could express. Fairness. Very justice cardy, obviously. Faith. Oh, I love this. The actual physical eyes are sort of covered up here, and the third eye is open above that. Faith. Fear. Oh. Forgiveness. Freedom. Yes. Frustration. Like the body language is so powerful in this deck. Grief. Oh, yes. Like where it's filling up your whole mind space. Guilt. Oh, man. Look at that. Hate. Hope. Humiliation. Oh man, just exposed in the center and everybody looking, pointing, all the eyes. Humility. Impatience. Again, here we get this idea of angels or spirit guides trying to like maybe like get you to slow down, like wait, hold up, like you don't need to be in such a hurry. Inhibition. Injustice. Insecurity. It is precarious, hey, when we're like sort of in that position. It's like we feel like the floor, the ground beneath us can get ripped away at any point. Integrity. Being in the fullness of who you are and what you believe. Jealousy. Clinging and holding on too tightly. Look at that. Joy. Look at the posture here and the facial expressions. Like it's so clear. Kindness. It's one thing about like this. It's a very smooth rose petal finish, but it is there for sure. But it does make it a little hard when you're doing these flip through things because they like to kind of cling a little. Limitation. Loneliness. Everybody's connected and this person's like, what about me? Man, and this also illustrates how you can be surrounded by people, but feel like you're not part of it, right? Like that you're still somehow left out. Loss. Holding on to that ghost, something that's no longer there. Oh man, I mean, this is a very emotive deck for sure. Love. Lust. Passion. I love this flaming heart. Patience. Peace. Perseverance. Look at the arrow and like just focus in this card. Power. Powerlessness. Look at the difference here. Oh man, and the absence of color here, that feeling of not having any energy to draw on, not having anything that you can use or access to help yourself. And this feeling of like being just one long wound here with that scar. Oh man. Presence. This is really interesting to me because it looks like in all the other cards, our figures have had clear delineations between themselves and space, right? These clear, clean lines. But yet when you get into this presence card, it's almost like the artist didn't crop it in properly, right? Which of course isn't true. Instead, it's as if we see where the outline of this person's physical body is and they're taking up more space. Energetically, they're expanding, they're taking up space. They have presence. That is really cool how that's illustrated. Pride. Beautiful. Protection. Oh, yes. Purpose. Rage. And I mean, really, when we compare rage to anger, just so we can see the difference. Here's anger. And here's rage. Look at the flames. Little flames to just, it's out of control. It's raging out of control. That's the difference between anger and rage. Regret. And the little sad flower here. The way that this is surrounding her, this sort of like lizardy creature. Release. Oh, the petals coming off and she's breaking free, just like a petal. Oh, man. This is so... The illustration is a simple style, right? And yet it is so complex, the way that it's been, the way a complex concept has been illustrated so simply. To me, that is like magical. Resentment. Look, the way that it divides, the way that it breaks and shatters. A lot of difficult cards in this deck for sure, but not only difficult cards, which I appreciate. Resilience. Man, I mean, come on. Look at that. Like the spirit is strong. The spirit self is strong. The spirit self is strong. And it's like a decision to work with this fragmentation, to continue forward despite what could be a major wound. Respect. Yes, this is my dance space. I just totally dirty dancing to that. But like, that's what that feels like. It's like, this is my space. This is me. These are my boundaries. I have respect for myself. I have respect for my boundaries, and the people in my life will respect them also. Neither of them are touching that boundary. That is powerful. Revenge. Oof. I thought that said radness, but it doesn't. What does it say? Sadness. For a second, I thought it said radness. I'm like, no, that's not right. Sadness. Look at that. Being all curled up within oneself. Oh. Scarcity. I mean, the perspective, the size of the figures, what's around them, what's not around them. Everything is like thoughtfully chosen. Security. Shame. Oh, man. Sincerity. Stability. Stillness. Strength. Look at this. Success. Support. Oh, I love that. Surrender. This looks like she's literally in the process of falling backwards, like taking a trust fall into the universe. That is what surrender is. Trust. Going where you're led. I kind of feel like this eye tells us where the figure in the card is. So we're very zoomed in, and it's almost like spirit is like, no, this is the way. And then they're just going that way, even though they have very little information to go on. That's what trust is. worthiness. You guys, this is the self-worth path, right? Like, isn't it though? We go from feeling unworthy to turning around and walking the path. Oh, validation. Yes. And if you look, it's like a forward, it's a, what do you call it? A pay it forward kind of situation, right? This figure has validation, so they give it to that figure. That figure has validation, so they give it to that figure. That figure has validation, so they give it to that figure. And it just goes on and on. Wealth. Worry. I think that's the last card. Yeah, that's the last card. Oh my gosh. Holy moly. So this is a chunky deck. Let's see how we shuffle, because there's a lot of cards here. The cardstock feels really nice. And it shuffles really good. So it's not overly thick or stiff. It definitely has, I would say it's probably 330 GSM, but it's got some bend to it. Doesn't feel overly stiff or thick. Let's do a, so I was holding it kind of funny there. Let's just get a little bit of a shuffle or a mix in here. Now with any time you have even a light, smooth rose petal finish, the cards do have a tendency to clump. They do get a little bit easier as you work with them in my experience, but if they don't, you can, I think you can get like powders and things that will help, but this doesn't feel particularly, like you can see, it doesn't feel particularly like clumpy. It's a little bit, but not bad. And the texture is really lovely. It feels like it's going to hold up really well, and I'm so glad it came edged, because with all of that black, yeah. I do think that the slightly shorter card size, I was going to grab a deck. Okay, so this is the Crystal Unicorn Tarot, so it's standard tarot size. So we are actually, I'm going to hold it behind so you can kind of see. Actually, I guess it looks better in front. It's shorter and a little bit wider. You can see about how much wider here. So you get a little bit like there at the sides. So it is a little chunky guy. But for some reason, I pictured it smaller. Is that word right? Yeah, there we go. I pictured it smaller than it actually is in real life. Oh, we flew out. Discouragement. Oh, okay. All right. We're going to do a proper shuffle and a draw, and then we're going to take a look at the guidebook. We'll read one of the entries. So I will have a link down below where I believe you can either order or pre-order this deck now that the Kickstarters are being shipped, or have been shipped, depending on when this video goes up. So I will try to have that link down below for you. Let's see what we have here. Hey, I got to, oh, it was on the top. I was going to cut it. Okay, let's cut it, because I wanted to kind of get more of a random pull than that. I guess it was still kind of random, but whatever. Attachment. Okay. So there's our card. Let's take a quick look at this little zine first. How to do shadow work and heal yourself. This is just like literally like it's a zine. It's just like cardstock or paper, and then it's staple bound. Take a deep breath, fill your lungs with air, and fill your heart with a gentle, soothing breeze. Close your eyes, say hello to your body. Hello hand, hello belly, hello feet, hello knee. Ask your feelings some questions such as, so it literally is like a little guide on how to do shadow work. Oh, there's a maze. So it's illustrated and sort of handwritten the whole way through. I love that. So it's just a simple little booklet, zine. Let's take a look at the actual guidebook that came with the cards. And I believe the guidebook is the same. No, it's actually, yeah, it's basically about the same size as the cards. It's like maybe a touch narrower. So let's see how this is formatted. This book is dedicated to my sisters, and she goes on from there. Okay, you exist on a spectrum. To be really means to feel, but when you were little, sometimes it wasn't safe to feel at all, and being you didn't get you the love you needed. You became half invisible. You put away the parts that felt unlovable. As an adult, you continue to pretend your other half doesn't exist because it feels safer like this. Oh my gosh. But what if it were safe to become whole again? What if there was nothing wrong with you? Oh my God, you guys, this is totally speaking my speak. You know I talk about stuff like this all the time. What can I do with this deck? Oh, how to use it. Card spreads, that's awesome. Oh, there's a few in here. Oh, there's several in there. That's awesome. Glossary, there's some information here talking about using different words. So there's a glossary, and the first word that comes up is abuse. Again, keep in mind, this is a healing deck, so it is meant to be, I think, a little bit confronting, right? So, you know, when you're digging into stuff like this, but it's neat that she's actually just defining words like emotion and feeling and healing, shadow, thought pattern, how to interpret the cards. Okay, let's get into attachment. Here we go. So here's our illustration, and here's what it says. Attachment is rooted in the fear of loving everything I dare to love. It's merging with a feeling to the point of losing touch with my true identity. My things and I are bound so tightly that I can't tell them from me. My pain and I are bound even tighter. Losing it would be losing me. Oh man. Okay, let's do another sample draw. That's really potent stuff here. Oh, we got that anger card. Okay. We're still in the A's, which is kind of funny. Okay, let me pull this up. Anger is when my needs are not met and I want to break the silence, when I cannot bear to feel so much, so I take it out on a world as mad as me. Anger is the fire in my gut asking to be freed. It has a way of making me say what I didn't mean. Oh man, are you serious? Like, I knew this was good, but like this is good. Fairness. Let's take a look at the F's. It's all alphabetical, by the way, in the book, so it's super like intuitive to navigate the guidebook entries. Okay, fairness. Pull the card up. Fairness is restoring balance in the place of chaos, opening the door to forgiveness and love. Justice and freedom go hand in hand. What is freedom without boundaries? There is a middle between your happiness and mine. There is a spot that feels right. Oh, yeah, this is going to be, I think, a real pleasure to work with, particularly for working with, dealing with difficult emotions, dealing with difficult feelings or difficult experiences. I feel like this is going to be like a really beautiful deck. Let's do like a sample, like within without advice card, and just see like sample spread within without advice and see what comes through. So let's just do a little 3 card here. I'm going to just do a little bit of a mix. I'm not worried too much about a perfect shuffle. We'll do one more. We'll do a riffle. I can't not. I like riffling. All right. Within without advice. Within security. Let's zoom in. So within is security. Without loneliness. Wow, look at that. Advice, forgiveness. Wow. I don't even need, like, it's so clear. Like, yeah, things are really good on the inside. They feel secure, but on the outside, you feel like lonely, like you're facing the situation of disconnect. Well, what do you do about that? Do you find space for forgiveness? Let's pull another 3 and just see. Within, trust. Without, love. I love how trust is actually pointing in the direction of love. How cool is that? Advice, loss. Recognize that missing piece. Recognize maybe what you've been ignoring. What are you still holding on to that's really not there anymore? Oh, so beautiful. Okay, I'm sold. I think this is gorgeous. I love all the little extras that come with it. I think this is really, really special. I'm just going to move my sticker and everything out of the way. We're going to do a little sample fan. We're going to see how it looks, but oh my gosh, this is a beauty. Oh, that's the thing with rose petals, eh? If you are a fanner, they will take some breaking in, I think. Let's see if I can nudge them into a bit of a fan here. I have to help them along, for sure. There we go. All right, you guys. That, my friends, is the Reclaim Oracle by Marion Costantin. Thank you so, so much for hanging out with me while I took a little tour through this deck. I'm really excited to pull this one into my practice and sort of work with it, particularly for those really difficult moments and for shadow work and for the things I need to do that are going to be a little more intense and where I really need to be called out. I think this is a beautiful deck for that. I think it's also, though, got a gentleness and because the imagery is so simple and so smooth, it doesn't feel like it's going to be uncomfortable, right? It feels like it's going to meet me where I am, and I love that. Thank you so, so much for hanging out with me while I toured this little deck. Don't forget to click the little like button before you go if you enjoyed this walkthrough or found value in it. Please do subscribe if you're new here. Click the little bell to be notified of my future videos. And I think that's about it. Thank you so, so much. And may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye, guys.